Have you ever been told that you have imposter syndrome? Maybe you felt like you were diagnosed with it, or maybe you've self-diagnosed. Well, I hate to break it to you, but you don't have imposter syndrome. In fact, we need to stop saying this and normalizing it. I'm going to tell you what it actually is and what you can do about it for yourself and for the people around you. So a couple years ago, this started making its way into Huffington Post and all of the self-help, self-advocacy, self-improvement blogs. Imposter syndrome, you have it. This is what it is. And I was so refreshed to see this in my Apple newsfeed about people popping the bubble on imposter syndrome. I have been banging down doors trying to get this through to people, and thankfully some people are listening. Here's what it actually is. There is something called the emotional cycle of change, meaning that when something is new, we get super duper excited. Whether it's a new job, a new role, a new relationship, a new environment, we get excited. We don't know what we don't know, but we're so optimistic about it to the point where we're in uninformed optimism. And then over time, we start to wonder, well, what don't I know about this? Our judgment starts to escalate. It starts to go up. And then we start to drop down into pessimism. We don't know what we don't know, but it's scaring the crap out of us. And before we know it, our judgmental lens starts finding everything else we don't know, and it starts to trigger all of our past fears and stories, and we start to freak out. We start to stress out, because stress is our physiological response to a perceived threat. And your brain is perceiving a lot of things associated with this as a threat. And we start to personalize it to the point where we then get into the struggle bus, valley of funk, imposter residence. This is where all of those old stories sit that tell us that we're not capable, we're not worthy, we're not enough, we're not smart enough, we can't do it, we're in the wrong place. Now, how do we get out of it? Curiosity, because the opposite of judgment is curiosity. It's right there. Yet, when we get reinforced with the syndrome, when people reinforce those labels of you have imposter syndrome, we don't realize there's something on the other side. So we believe the lie. We believe the diagnosis that we were misinformed about, that they were misinformed about. On the other side of it is curiosity. At any point in this emotional cycle of change, you can inject curiosity. What don't I know? Where might I find out more information? What else might I need to see or experience? How much time do I need to get more comfortable in this role? Who else do I need to talk to? What other groups can I join to understand? But if we stay in judgment, we start comparing ourselves to other people. Well, Sally's got it all together. Well, Janine's figured it out. Well, Jane's been doing it forever, and Joe and Bob and whoever else. We start comparing on the surface level outcomes. We don't actually know what's going on in their head. They might be freaking out too. But if we start to get curious, we start to lift out of pessimism into optimism. And then we get to informed optimism because we go from new to known. Now, do you actually have imposter syndrome, or are you just in an emotional cycle of change?